India and Egypt decided to expand their military cooperation and concentrate on joint training, defense co-production and equipment maintenance. This was decided upon at Monday's meeting between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Cairo. Tanks, artillery guns, and rifles in both countries have a common Russian lineage, including the MiG-29, T-90, etc. They emphasized how important it is to collaborate on the manufacturing of military hardware. El-Sisi expressed his appreciation for the increased degree of military-to-military cooperation that has developed between both nations. He referred to the signing of a MOU on defense cooperation as a significant accomplishment. According to Egypt's President El-Sisi, there has been a long and fruitful history of bilateral ties between Egypt and India. He emphasized how important it was for India and Egypt to share their knowledge and best practices in the fight against the danger posed by terrorism. India counts Egypt as one of its most significant commercial partners on the African continent. Egypt has shown interest in obtaining military systems from India, while India is interested in selling them. Egypt is looking at a number of options for satisfying its fighter demand, one of which being the country's indigenous, light combat aircraft. India and Egypt, two of the world's oldest civilizations, have enjoyed a history of close contact from ancient times. The histories of Cairo and New Delhi are intricately entwined. Not only did British colonialists seek Egypt for its wealth, but they also sought it because it served as a route to India. In the 1950s, India's special relationship with Egypt served as a pillar for New Delhi's foreign policy in the Middle East and Africa. While presiding over the non-alignment movement, Jawaharlal and Gamal Abdel Nasser developed a close relationship with one another. However, the Indo-Egyptian cooperation was about more than just political unity and the end of colonial rule. During the time of the Cold War, Nehru and Nasser had the ambition of assisting one another in their respective efforts to advance their militaries and industrial sectors. Egypt's economic difficulties have been made worse by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which has resulted in the cessation of wheat shipments from both Ukraine and Russia. In light of this, Cairo has been looking to India as a potential alternative source of supply. Midway through the month of May, New Delhi put a restriction on the export of wheat due to the severe heat wave that had an effect on India's grain production. Egypt, on the other hand, was not included in the embargo that India imposed. The fact that Egypt was allowed this exception is evidence of the robust nature of their connection. During the pandemic, Egypt sent India 30 tons of medical supplies and 300,000 doses of the antiviral medicine remdesivir. This cargo brought to light the rising strength of the bilateral relationship. Increased collaboration between the Egyptian and Indian fleets would be beneficial to maritime security in the Indian Ocean, the Gulf of Oman, and the Mediterranean Sea from a security standpoint. To begin, they might exchange data, including satellite images, to construct a single operational picture, energy and food security, and vital infrastructure, such as 5G and underwater cables. This would allow them to address all of these issues simultaneously. Because of Egypt's position in the center of global affairs, the country might serve as a focal point for bilateral cooperation. Because of Egypt's long history and its location at the crossroads of three continents, Africa, Europe, and Asia, Cairo serves as a connecting point for a number of distinct locations. As a rising great power, India has a strategic interest in expanding its reach to various regions around the world. This is especially true in Africa, which boasts a rapidly growing population and middle class, and plays a central role in global commodity markets. India has a strategic interest in expanding its reach to various regions around the world. Africa is quickly becoming a battleground for big powers, as a result of its many alluring charms. Cairo has a dual purpose over the African continent. Egypt is establishing itself as a political, economic, and security gateway to the rest of the African continent, and it is also establishing itself as a major strategic actor with a growing security and intelligence presence throughout Africa. As a result, the present chaos that exists around the globe creates incentives for Cairo and New Delhi to collaborate more closely with one another. Egypt and India have the potential to establish a West Asian system that unites the area, according to the similarities in their civilizational outlooks, demographics, geographic locations, and geopolitical goals. Egypt and India's bilateral ties possess a great deal of promise that has not yet been fully realized. This potential may take the form of coordination on global and regional problems, as well as cooperation in other critical theaters, such as Africa and the Indian Ocean.